Good afternoon, everybody. We're here, Ricky Metallico, Tyrone Johnson from the best show ever on 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports Philadelphia. Right now, you're either watching this on Instagram Live or on Instagram, or you're watching it on YouTube. Listen up, everybody. Big news coming up. This Sunday, NFC Championship game will be live on 97.5 The Fanatic, courtesy of our good friends from Westwood One. So we're looking forward to that NFC Championship game coming up. Eagles versus the Commanders on Sunday. Obviously, we'll be talking a lot about that on the show. Now, one thing I have to get into now is this little bugaboo I have in life before we get into the sports, Ricky. It's when people volunteer you for work.
Oh, never happens here.
I mean, I don't understand it.
Anywhere.
Well, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's one thing if I'm doing something like me working and I say, hey, Ricky, now we got to do it.
Right.
Because I'm doing it or whatever. But to just say, hey, Ricky, you got to do this, man, it grinds my gears. I got to be honest.
By the way, go drive 50 miles. You got an hour thing to do tomorrow morning. What time? 5 a.m. Okay, you want me to get there at 5 a.m.? No.
What are you going to be doing during that time? Sleeping?
Yep.
Like, I don't know. It's something about it. There's something about it that just gets under my skin. Like, don't be volunteering me for nothing. Okay? The answer is no. That's why I don't like when people say, hey, do you want to? The answer is no.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything more than, I'm at maximum capacity, man. I'm barely holding on. So to volunteer me for more just feels out of line.
The whole volunteer thing never works.
And why is the microphone not up? We're live. Put it on the other thing.
I got to put this up there.
On the other thing.
I got to put them both up.
Yeah, on the other string. Yeah.
There we go. Now we got dual strings going on. There we go.
Right, we're good. Now, I'm just saying, it's just a little thing that was bothering me. And the reason is, you know this is coming up now because with certain spouses, and I'm not saying male or female, I'm just saying certain spouses, this has been an Eagles heavy time in the Delaware Valley.
Yeah.
Okay? You know that if the Eagles win, or when the Eagles win, next weekend is that bye week before the Super Bowl. What percentage of spouses are going to be looking for a little payback next weekend, Ricky Bo? Because think about it, you had to watch.
Right.
You had to watch the Packers game.
Yep.
And you had to watch the Rams game. And now you got to watch the Commanders game. I feel like some spouses are going to want to get some get back. They're going to be volunteering people for
this
work.
is big time. That would be big time. That would be where the Poconos is probably going to be sold out because that weekend the wives are going to be like, you know what? I put up with your stuff for the last 5 weeks. Now it's my turn. You have an off week. I know you do. You're taking me somewhere, whether it be a nice dinner you might have to take them to, or you have to take them to, like I said, maybe skiing. Who knows? Maybe see Tyrone up there. But I will say this much. Think about this for a second. When you think about, you said, what's the percentage? Well, you have your 15% of those wives that are out there that are diehard Eagles fans, and they want to watch it.
People get upset.
Or husbands. Right.
Husbands.
But then there's that 85 percentile that kind of sit down there and wait. I would say about 75% of those 80% or 85% left, you got to do something for them.
See? And this is what I don't like.
Or else they'll ruin your Super Bowl.
Right. This is what I'm talking about, people. This is why it's important for people when you're picking. And we have single people. We have a single people in our audience. I think you got to look at sports allegiance as at least part of why you make the decision that you make.
Yeah.
At least part of it. Because then you don't have to run into these issues. Because some of you went out there and you just wanted somebody that was hot. And I'm not telling you were wrong, but now you're ruining the day that you did that. Okay? Was that 9 worth it, or would you rather have an 8 and watch the game? I think you'd rather have an 8 and watch the game than have a 9 and not. It's just without, what I mean by watching the game is without hassle, guilt-free, without anybody giving you a hard time.
I will tell you this much. Back in the day when I was playing baseball and I was married at the time, and I had kids at the time, we would have the Super Bowl party.
Right.
But it would be like 2 different parties going on. There would be one wine party going on one side of the house, and then the Super Bowl party with the watch party going on the other side of the house. So it kind of worked out that way.
That works out great, as long as they're not interfering with the game when you're trying to actually watch it.
No, you tell them get out.
Yeah,
like get out. If you're not interested in the game, there's the door. Plenty of other TVs outside.
Now, SJ Magazine was kind enough to include me in this story that's out right now. You go to sjmag.net, I believe it is, and you'll find it. And there's such luminaries in it, such as Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman's in it, Kate Scott, the play-by-play voice of the Sixers. And for some reason, me, also in it. Don't know why, but I'm glad that they asked me. So I answered what I was doing 25 years ago. So Ricky Bub, why don't you count back? January of 2000.
Yep.
What were you doing?
I was probably on a vacation somewhere. And that's no doubt, because I used to go on vacation for a couple weeks every January before it led to spring training. That would have been before I was going to, the year 2000 spring training.
Your girls were young then.
Yeah. Well, one of my girls was just born. Well, you know what? One of my girls was just born. So I was kicking it in gear as a daddy at that point, as a young daddy.
But what were you gearing up for? What spring training?
Gearing up for spring training to go to Kansas City Royals of all places.
Where'd they do their spring training?
It was in right outside of Orlando in Kissimmee. So it wasn't that bad.
It's not that bad.
It's not a bad place down there. So.
No, it's not bad. Now, our old Savannah from the show was not born 25 years ago.
Can you imagine that?
She wasn't born.
She was a sparkle in somebody's eye.
Yeah, she wasn't even born 25 years ago, so she couldn't have been a part of it. So anybody out there that's old enough, real question, you can put it into the comments. What were you doing 25 years ago? What were you doing January of the year 2000? This is obviously pre 9/11. It's a different world back then. What were you doing? Those of you old enough. Were you in kindergarten? Were you in middle school? Were you an adult? Were you not born yet? What were you doing? You can put it in the comments. 25 years ago. I know Howie Roseman said, I think he was in college. I think at that time he thought he was going to be a lawyer still before he made the turn.
Well, he's got the look of a lawyer.
Before he was going to be a lawyer still. And I believe, and I'm glad it ended up working out the way that it did, because he's done such a good job as Eagles general manager. But I don't think 25 years ago he could imagine what he's doing right now.
You know what's weird about Howie? He's the one person you want to just bash. Is he? He's that guy that when he makes that one little mistake, you just want to beeline after him. But I mean, you know what? He hasn't made many mistakes. He's done a fantastic job. He really has. I mean, this is a guy that has some staying power with the Eagles on top of it, and he makes all the right decisions.
Yeah, so you can go to the article for
Tyrone's at the top of the list.
But you'll see me first. So if you read the article, you'll get to me first, because for some reason I was first.
Top of the list.
Before all these other people.
You're the A-list.
Or they could have said, like, you're the least important. They worked their way up. I don't know how I got in that article either way. So we've been talking about that. Another thing that's interesting to me right now is the media loves Jayden Daniels. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. They're in love with him. But they're kind of forgetting that other people play the game. Is there a chance that this media is setting up Washington fans and the hype for a big fall? And maybe Daniels plays great, but Daniels doesn't play defense. Daniels doesn't block. There are a lot of positions, obviously, he can't play, being that he's the quarterback. When they only talk about one player, like to this degree, could they be setting their fan bases up for a big fall?
Yeah, they could, because I believe he is great, and I think he's going to be great.
Yeah.
But he is still young. I mean, that's the thing that's lost in all this. He's young. Maybe all this pressure could get to him. I mean, you're talking about an NFC Championship game. Look, you went through a team in Detroit that has no defense whatsoever.
No.
So in my eyes, they had like an offensive scrimmage up at Ford Field. Now you're looking at a team with the best defense in the league. It's not going to be that easy. I think Washington fans, I don't think they're that stupid. I really don't. I think they see through a lot. They understand why Daniels is getting, all the attention, because he's led his team from nowhere to an NFC Championship game. That's a huge accomplishment in itself.
It is.
I think they're kind of playing out this year like if a miracle happens, a miracle happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
But that's not how the media's treating it at all.
No, the media
at all. And even if Daniels plays well, what if his defense doesn't play well?
If his defense doesn't play well, then Daniels is going to have to stand on his head all game long.
Well, what if he plays well? But again, what if he... Well, they
lose. They lose. It's that simple. They lose.
And that's what I have an issue with. Maybe Daniels will be great. I don't have anything against him other than he plays for Washington. Other than that, he hasn't said anything or done anything for me to not like him. He hasn't been annoying. Nothing like that. But the one thing that does stick out to me is they're not talking about the other 52 guys.
No.
And I'm not talking about in that they'll feel like they're, being overlooked or anything. No. I'm talking about, what if they're not that good, the rest of the teammates? What if the teammates aren't that good? We've seen it. Peyton Manning did not win the Super Bowl every year. Even Tom Brady did not win the Super Bowl every year. We know it takes more than a good quality quarterback, and you see that with the Eagles. When you only talk about one player, isn't there a chance that the reason they're doing it is because they don't have that many other good players worth speaking about?
Yes, that's exactly why they're doing it.
And that could catch up to them once.
I mean, they don't have a lot to talk about defensively except for Lattimore. That's all they talk about defensively. Mm-hmm. And when you think about offensively, I mean, they have a three-headed back in the backfield that they kind of use. So it's not like one guy coming at you every time. And then you'll hear about Terry McLaurin, but the guy that holds all the pieces is their quarterback. And sometimes that's putting a little too much on one guy, but I think in this situation, that's the only guy they're going to put it on because they look at that team as a one-dimensional team. You can't win as a one-dimensional team.
The other part is, another big thing is they lost their left guard for the season. Just this past game against the Lions, and that's unfortunate. You never root for injuries, but that means that it might be an easier time for the tackles, including Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter's a beast as it is. You know what? Jalen Carter, they could have all their starters in there. You still know he's going to cause havoc. He's going to be in the backfield, and he's going to cause Jayden Daniels problems all game long. I don't even, if you have an injury, that's just going to make it easier on him. You know what? I look at this game in a completely different way. I almost look at it. You just brought up the superstars. I'll bring up Vic Fangio's defense every single time. Reason why I say that is Vic Fangio has this thing that you have to play to be good. You have to play as a unit. You can't just be one star on defense or one star on offense and expect to have success all the time. You're going to have some failures. I look at his defense as these guys playing as a unit, knowing exactly where each guy is going to be and what they have to do on every play. What does it become? A number one defense. That's how you become great in this game.
I mean, that's some of it. Now, what's so funny, Dylan?
I just saw someone at Weston Wilson's fan page 3 has requested to join the...
Welcome in, Weston Wilson.
Weston Wilson's fan page. Now, listen. All right, real quick. Obviously, we've been talking about the Eagles. We expected to win on Sunday. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. So, speaking of hanging out, though, Flyers game the other night.
Yeah.
All those guys.
Yeah.
Weston Wilson was there, double W.
Christopher Sanchez.
He was probably the best player that
Clemens.
Cody with the K. Clemens is out there hanging out. And then they were chugging beers and hanging out. Let me ask you, Ricky, about your heyday.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you know there's going to be some people that don't even make it to the game on Sunday. They'll be so busy chugging beers. If you went against the average person in chugging beers, in your heyday, at your peak, do you think you were better than average?
I was better than average, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
You're better than average at chugging beer. I'm talking about not just in
the heyday, yes.
In the heyday.
In the heyday, absolutely. Now, no.
No, in the heyday. So I'm saying if I gave you a sixer, all right, I give Dylan, who's recording everything right now, a sixer, all right? And let's say Dylan's the average drinker from your heyday. And you have to drink 3 of the sixer. 3 of them, chug.
Okay, yeah.
How many seconds, minutes would you be that average drinker back at your best?
I would probably say about a minute and a half for 3 of them.
So it take you a minute and a half?
Yeah, about a minute and a half for 3 I could do.
And how long do you think the average drinker? About a minute per? So you basically double them up?
I would be close to that, yeah.
Now let's say you had to extend it out to the full sixer.
Oh man, that's
tough, but I've seen people do it.
I don't think I would do it. I mean, to me, that's ruining your day.
Oh, it does.
It's going to ruin your day because if you're planning on going to a tailgate, you're pounding 6 beers in 15 or in 3-4 minutes.
3-4 minutes.
Kind of ruins a good chunk of your day at some point.
All right,
might not ruin you right away, but an hour or so down the road, yeah, you're going to feel it.
Last question, beer related. I have a couple of friends, right? Now these guys don't drink. They have kids now.
Yep.
Older.
Okay.
Settled down. These 2 guys sat in the backyard together. Each of them with a 30-pack.
Oh God.
They started in the morning. They didn't leave that backyard. I mean, they had to go to the restroom, but they didn't leave that backyard until the 30-pack was gone.
Oh, no.
Think back to your maximum heyday. And people can put in the comments what they did, their exploits as well. What's the most you think you could have put down at your peak?
Maybe 20.
Think you could have done 20?
Maybe 20.
Dylan, how much you think you could have put down in your heyday?
12.
you could have put down 12. I think I was good for about 12 to 15.
I could probably put 12 down now. But man alive, I wouldn't feel good the next day.
Listen, that is our time, everybody. We do this each and every week, live on Instagram at about 1:25 every Thursday. Also on YouTube, we'll keep asking different questions. We want to get your interaction. And remember, best show ever, each and every weekday, 2 to 6 on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com, and also NBC Sports Philadelphia. And reminder, on Sunday, listen to 97.5 The Fanatic to hear the NFC Championship game between the Eagles and the Commanders, courtesy of Westwood One. We'll talk to you then.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching our YouTube. If you want to help us out, go ahead and like and subscribe for us. If you liked what you saw, go right over here to our playlists and pick out whatever you want to watch.